How long should a perfect shot last? This seemingly simple and trivial question is actually key to achieving high quality and impactful video, because choosing the wrong length of shots and making the shots in the wrong places can easily devalue all the hard work you put into editing. So in this video, I will tell you how to correctly choose the length of your shots and give some tips that will make your editing stand out. Let me say one thing right away. How you cut the video is totally up to you. You can use the scissors tool, the Command B or Control B keyboard shortcuts, or just drag the edges of the video on the timeline left or right. What I want to focus on is the length of the shots, because choosing the shots is always a manifestation of your creative vision. So how do you pick the right length for these shots? You need to follow several principles, the first of which sounds like this: continuity. Each subsequent shot should be a logical continuation of the previous one. This will allow the viewer to easily follow what is happening and not get lost. The length of the shots themselves also affects the watch factor of the video. If the shots are too short, there is a risk of losing the viewer's attention. In this case, it will be difficult for the viewer to understand what is happening, and they may simply switch to another video. Try it yourself. Cut any sequential action into many short pieces and see how well you can follow what is happening. If you make the shots too long, it will simply make the video boring and tedious. Of course, if the style of the video is calm and monotonous, then long shots are exactly what you need, and in this case, the viewer does not need to constantly follow what is happening, but can simply enjoy the atmosphere of the video. But even in this case, the choice of the length of the shots should be approached carefully and responsibly. If the shots are too long, even the most patient viewer may lose interest. The next principle is one of the most important ones. The length of each shot should correspond to the amount of information that you want to convey with a particular shot. This is a very simple principle, which, however, is usually overlooked. Let me give you a few examples. If you're editing video with a talking head and at some point you decide to share important information, you need to use a long shot of you talking to the camera. But if it's just some small emotional remark, the shot can be shorter. This will help keep the pace of the video and prevent the viewer from getting bored. And of course, I'm not just talking about information that you say. It can be any visual information such as location, setting, and so on. That's why in movies, almost all shots that show the location are long and action shots are short. If you want viewers' eyes to have time to run across the screen and pay attention to different elements, the shot should be longer. And if all you need from a shot is to show the presence of some action or element, feel free to make the shot short. To make it even easier, here is a simpler explanation. If everything is clear at first glance, a short shot, and if you need to explain something, a long one. Follow this principle and I'm sure your editing will be much better and more organic. As I already said, cutting the shots themselves is quite simple. The same goes for creating animations, effects, adding transitions, and so on. Movavi Video Editor is a real jack of all trades. It can do everything. Create stunning videos, remove backgrounds, remove noise, do chroma key, and much more. Even beginners can master it thanks to the intelligent features that simplify the workflow. In general, Movavi Video Editor is the most understandable, user-friendly, and convenient video editor that has already saved me countless hours and nerves. And now the most interesting part. Keep your holidays glowing. Hop on our New Year's sale and dazzle your subscribers with freshly brewed content for 2024 and beyond. Get infinite creative power and craft unforgettable New Year memories with Movavi Unlimited. Add a touch of holiday enhancement to your photos and videos in a few clicks with AI-driven tools. Capture your screen, webcam, and audio to record joyous greetings. Decorate your heartfelt video messages with help of thousands of creative effects. The sale is the great way to enjoy your very own wonderland with up to 80% off any creative app you need for the upcoming year to explore new creative horizons. And you can claim a gift every time you shop at the sale. Subscribe to Movavi Unlimited at 80% off and start the new year with a powerful new creative tool belt. Get every feature we develop, no extra fees, all year long. The next principle is pretty simple: pacing. It can be fast or slow, and therefore the length of the shots will be short or long. And there are no rules here because pacing is a very personal thing. You can adjust the length of the shots according to your personal feelings or according to the pacing of the music in the background. I would actually recommend finding a balance between these two options. Unfortunately, Movavi Video video editor has a smart beat recognition feature, will find the beats in the music and mark them on the timeline, simplifying editing. There will be a lot of markers, but you don't have to use them all. Look at what length is needed based on the content of the shot and align it to the music beats. If you don't have an inbuilt sense of pacing, you can use at least 2 additional techniques. The first is to cut shots at the moment of movement or significant action. For example, a hand clap. The second is to cut the video while preserving the direction and speed of movement. But I talked about this in one of my previous videos. It is important not to overdo it with pacing. If it is too fast, it will be difficult for the viewer to digest the information. If it is too slow, the video will be boring. Try to find a happy medium. It is also important not to forget about the emotional aspect. After all, the length of the shots directly affects the emotions of the viewer. Shorter shots typically create a sense of life and movement. They can evoke a sense of interest in the viewer, and slow, long shots, on the other hand, create a sense of tension and suspense. I would say that the emotional aspect often comes to the fore because no matter how informatively and stylistically correctly you pick the shots, without proper emotional impact, all of this is meaningless. Therefore, after assembling the initial version of the video, I recommend carefully reviewing it several times, paying attention to your emotions at one point or another, and then, based on this knowledge, adjust the length of the shots to achieve exactly the effect you want. And even though in this video I'm mostly talking about the length of shots, I still want to give a tip on shooting. You never know how and at what pace the video will be edited, and therefore, in order to select shots of optimal length each time, I recommend shooting as many different shots as possible. More versions of the same shots, with fast camera movement, with slow camera movement, dynamic shots, static shots. The more variations you have, the better. Of course, editing can fix almost anything, but it is often really noticeable. And we are fighting for quality and staying true to life, right? So don't be lazy, spend a little more time shooting, because when it comes to selecting shots and their length, you will thank yourself later. In addition to everything I've said, there is another, more straightforward way to select the length of certain shots. Choose it depending on the content. The process of making almost every video starts with voiceover or shooting talking head shots, and in this case, the editing becomes bound to what you're saying. As long as you're talking about something, there is a corresponding shot on screen, and as soon as you change the topic or move on to the next point, the shot changes. I don't really like this editing style. On the one hand, it makes the video as visually clear and coherent as possible, which is often helpful. However, this coherence actually sacrifices pace, emotional impact, and God knows what else. Simply put, there is less creative freedom with this method. Therefore, if you can avoid this, do it. And in general, if the content format allows, try to assemble a rough cut of the video with proper music and pacing, and then move to voiceover. This editing method will allow you to experiment more freely with the length of the shots and achieve the desired effect. You will be able to change the length of the shots depending on the pace of speech, emotional load, or other factors, or adapt the speech to the editing. The length of shots is one of the most important factors that affects its perception by the viewer. In essence, it can be short or long, but the choice of length is often very situational. By choosing the right length, you will captivate the viewer, and by choosing the wrong length, you will lose them. The main thing to remember is that the more you edit, the easier it will be to choose the length of your shots. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.